changes to engineers constitute a reduction in vigor uptime, an increase to the consistency of some trait effects, an improvement to out-of-combat mobility, and finally, steps have been taken to allow any engineer build to benefit from Grandmaster firearms. The largest change is to modified ammunition, which will function regardless of weapon equipped, allowing it to grant a possible 24% damage buff at any time. This is a positive incentive for any engineer using weapon kits to invest in the firearms line, but the problem remains that the rest of the firearms traits are not particularly brilliant. The explosives trait line is having its adept potency reduced. Incendiary powder and accelerant packed turrets will be swapped around, meaning engineers won't be able to invest a mere 10 points to receive a consistent method for applying burning, and they will now have to choose between setting their opponents on fire and other strong bonuses such as explosive powder or short fuse. Additionally, exploit weakness is having its health threshold doubled, now crippling opponents below 50% health. A significant increase in power, but probably not enough to outweigh the strength of shrapnel. Many engineer inventions are to be strengthened considerably. In fact, auto tool installation is being made over 1.6 times stronger. It will restore 5% of turret hit points every 3 seconds, or 100% in 1 minute. Elixir-infused bombs is having its scaling increased by 50%. Detonating bombs on your allies will heal them for 145, plus 15% of your healing power. This could strengthen bomb support builds a little, and will make Grandmaster inventions more worthwhile, especially in team situations, although it will also produce sustain roughly equivalent to regeneration in power precision bomb builds. Possibly to further encourage engineers to invest deeply in the inventions traits, power shoes will now function outside of combat, allowing engineers to keep up with their allies in order to utilise their newfound healing powers. Finally, energized armoured scaling is being increased by 2% to 7%. Which is not particularly significant, but when an additional 35 power might just tip the balance, this trait will come into its own. Moving on to alchemy. The traits which depressingly don't allow the mass production of gold are being changed in 2 ways. Transmute is becoming reliable. It will have a 100% chance to convert a condition into a boon, but will have a 15-second cooldown. Provided that less than 13 conditions are applied per 15 seconds, this can be considered a buff, and this could potentially disrupt certain combos such as the Elementalist Fire Grab, which require certain conditions for maximum effectiveness. Another alchemical change is to blood injection. It will convert 7% of an engineer's vitality to condition damage. Unfortunately, even with this increase in power, it's unlikely to be sufficient to justify its usage over other adept options. Finally, tools. Speedy kit's duration and cooldown are being increased to 10 seconds, so in principle its effect is identical, but 2 additional results will spring from this. Firstly, vigor uptime will be reduced as invigorating speed will be unable to trigger as often, and secondly, swiftness will be easier to maintain without the excessive swapping of kits. The second and final change to tools, and indeed engineer traits as a whole, is to armor mods. It will trigger when attacked in any way, rather than just on critical strikes, and its cooldown is to be reduced to 15 seconds. Acquiring this trait will grant you the power of nearly 3 Guardians, an effect about 2.7 times as strong as Virtue of Courage. Because it now triggers on any attack, it will function well against condition builds as well, and opponents will have to think their onslaught through, or have their most important ability completely denied. Engineers are also having a minor change to a skill, namely Blunderbuss. Its range is increasing by 100 inches to 500, also subject to the 200 range increase of rifled barrels. That's everything dropping to tier by supply crate for engineers, but there appear to be more plummeting to earth for other professions. Why not open them? Who knows what wonders may lie within?